This is your place for all things Detroit Red Wings and all things Chicago Blackhawks. With your hosts, Jordan Linscott, David Barnhouse, Nick LePage, and Tim Stompanato. This is the Stick Blade Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Stick Blade Podcast. It is your place for all things Detroit Red Wings, all things Chicago Blackhawks, and news around the NHL. Hockey is officially back in preseason, training camp, actual games. So we've gotten to see the Wings a little bit this season, the Hawks a little bit this season. Some good, some bad, some really bad, but we'll get onto that a little bit later in the show. Some news coming out of the Hawks and the Wings camp, just in terms of injury updates, management decisions, stuff like that. For your host tonight, Jordan Linscott, and my co-host, David Barnhouse, Tim Stompanato, and Nick LePage. Everybody, welcome to the show. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well.
Feeling good. Feeling alive. Hockey's back. Yeah, very excited.
Yeah, besides being go ahead.
Living out in DC, I don't get to watch many Wings games, but they were on NBC Sports at noon today. You know, I had to listen to the annoying NBC Sports announcers and not what we're used to with Fox Sports Detroit, but yeah.
Yeah, besides being a Blackhawks fan in the year 2021, everything else is great. So,
Nick, I got to jump in. I'm digging your Mad Hatchet hat. Congrats on the new position there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, it's cool. New job, you know. Got to drink and serve some beers to they're watching the Hawks game on Friday. So, you know,
get better than that.
Probably helped.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely helped.
like now, because the Hawks have been pretty bad so far this season. Like if you get to have beers at work after hours, is that considered like a business expense for you or what? Like, can we write that off?
Yeah. It's just they'll sponsor the show. They'll cover everything, I guess. No,
that'd be a dream. I'll take it.
Stick Blade Podcast brought to you by Mad Hatchet Brewing Company.
all one of them.
But so obviously, I mean, like I mentioned, hockey's back, and for Wings and Hawks fans, Wings fans in particular, we've been pretty deprived. The Wings didn't really have as much news as the Hawks had this week. The Hawks had some pretty important news. Jeremy Colliton getting a extension. I can see it in Nick's face already.
He's
so ready for this.
He's so happy. He's excited.
I did promise Angry Nick today.
So Jeremy Colliton has gotten an extension with the Chicago Blackhawks in the head coach position. You guys have had him for a couple of years now, and it's no secret since he's taken control of the team in terms of just on ice performance and record. The team has not been a playoff team by all respects. I mean, they got in last season, but if we're all being honest with ourselves, the Hawks did not belong in the playoffs last year. It took COVID for them to make it. Tim and Nick, go ahead and just what are your thoughts on this one?
Let it out.
Go ahead, Tim. You can start us off. Yeah.
I'll go first. All right. Now, I want to be a good foil for you this week. One thing I will say, to your point, Jordan, since Colliton took over, we have not been a playoff-worthy team. That being said, not being a playoff-worthy team is also what was the final nail in Q's coffin as well. There's a lot to be said that the quality of roster, we've still got some of our dream team all-star players, but we've lost a lot of the depth that made us who we were over the years. The league caught up to us and passed us up. We're on the downslide and we are into a rebuild. I think that two things can be true. I think that Colliton has experienced a lot of growing pains and has not been a playoff caliber coach. And I think that our roster is not playoff caliber quality. You could bring in Scotty Bowman at his prime, and I don't think that this team right now is a playoff team. That being said, I understand the extension. He's had 3 seasons now that he's played for us. None of those seasons has been a full normal season. The last 3 years have been riddled with injuries. He didn't have a full season because he replaced Q, didn't have a full season because of COVID, and then didn't have a full season because of COVID. I know that the big thing is he's great. He's a great communicator and a great developer. I know that we haven't seen a lot of that yet, but as we were talking about before the show, a lot of you got to plant the acorns to get the tree. Like, we're not going to see the tree for a few years. And I like the fact that the extension, A, gets it off his mind. He doesn't have to worry about it. He's not overthinking things. And B, it ends at the same time that Bowman's contract ends and that Kane, Taze, and Keith's contracts are up. We'll know at that point whether or not he's actually done the developing and the getting us through the this new bleak period. We'll have a better sense of that then. Until then, I'd rather he's not focused on an extension and focused on doing everything he can to make us better. Nick?
I love this good cop, bad cop. This is a good cop.
All right. Well,
I'm ready.
listen, I'm not going to go right in on him yet. I'm going to say some nice things. Maybe, I don't know. Like, maybe they're just neutral things.
Better than nothing.
All right. So, Jeremy Colliton did not, this is not his fault for being put into this situation. I was texting about this in the group chat. Like, yeah, he's got a lot of pressure on him. He's coming in after a Hall of Fame coach. He's coming in after years and years of success. And, you know, he was just Stan Bowman's choice. So, like, it's not like he was there developing some kind of plan to get Joel Quinnville fired. Like, this wasn't like he was given this job and, you know, he's given this roster and he has to work with it. It's not a good roster. No. But I think an extension is undeserved right now. I mean, I think maybe he'd be a great AHL coach right now. I mean, he's young. He still has to develop his own. He coached overseas in the Swiss or SHL?
SHL.
SHL. So he was a good coach over there. He had great success. He brought a team. He relegated is when you get sent down, right?
Yeah, relegations where
So-
you're sent down. Or
Yeah,
He
sent up.
got him up. Yeah, he got him up to the major division over there. Then obviously he came over to Chicago as a Rockford coach. But he was in Rockford for what? A season and 13 games after Quinnville got fired?
And he did do a fantastic job in Rockford.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, it's a whole different game coming over to the American soil.
Definitely.
I mean, he played in the AHL when he was young. I think he played a season or two in the AHL. But I think he needs more time to develop himself. Like, you could see the struggles. He's a young coach. He's inexperienced still. And like, there's situations where he doesn't really line match that well. He doesn't know when to pull a goalie. The power play has been awful ever since he's come here. I mean, that's part of the assistant coach's job just because they work with the special teams. But when it comes to developing these guys, like Adam Boquist, I mean, it's hard to get hard on him. He's young. Okay. He's young. He's 21 still.
Yeah, he was drafted the same year as Zadina.
Yes. So he's 21 years old. Okay. There's still plenty of time to develop. But when you compare him to guys like his counterparts, like Quinn Hughes, who's drafted one pick before him, one pick. And I mean, it's a different story. It's Quinn Hughes. He's a different person.
Development, though.
Yeah, I know. But like, just counterparts like Cal McCarr, Miro Heiskanen, how Charlie McAvoy, it's hard. I'm not going to get too hard on that yet. But like, then Kirby Doc, he's a top 3 pick. He's naturally gifted. Like, I know there's development that comes with it, but he's just a natural stud. He's gifted and he's developed on his own. And most of this time, it's not even through coaching. It's like through training, getting stronger, getting bigger, and getting more skilled and playing with these skilled players. So Jeremy Colliton, I don't think it's just too early. Like, nobody's rushing this offseason to go sign Jeremy Colliton. He's a bottom 3 coach right now in the league. I said it earlier. I think Jeff Blashill's a better coach than he is right now. Like, if you wanted to sign Colliton to an extension after the season, fine, so be it. Like, no, there's no reason to get out, do it now, just because like he hasn't proved anything. He hasn't proved a single thing to me, and it's just frustrating.
I get it.
Yeah, no, those are all 100% completely valid concerns, and actually probably the best articulated concerns for Colliton that I've heard compared to what I usually see on Twitter or in the Reddit threads, where it's lambasting him that the players don't respect him, or which none of us
No,
know.
yeah, we don't know
Like,
what goes on in the locker room.
that's
I wasn't gonna
ridiculous.
drop something like that because I don't know.
No, you say
Uh-uh.
that the amount of our fan base.
My uncle's friend's cousin is
Yeah.
a beat writer for Chicago, and he says they don't like him.
Yeah,
I
he's a
hope
market. He works in the
No,
marketing department.
I will say, building on what you were talking about, Boquist is, first off, he's 20 years old. I just checked.
Yeah.
August birthday.
And for
One could
defense,
argue that he's not even supposed to be up here yet.
Yeah.
He, we talk about development. He should have been in the AHL all last year, and he should probably be in the AHL this year. He himself said when he was drafted, I'm probably 2-3 years away from making that jump. And I agree, especially as a smaller offensive defenseman who's not coming in with that same kind of game that like a Moritz Seider has when he's coming in, or even an Ian Mitchell who's 21.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
had 3 years to build and get strength and whatnot. Managing the coaching and development, managing his ice time, putting him in situations that he can thrive in, and also putting him in situations that test him, and then having to decide, okay, when do we bench him? When do we let him go back out there? Those are going to be things, those are incremental developmental changes. I look at a Heiskanen that spent he didn't come up until his second year.
Mhm.
And seeing that sort of development, Doc, I think they managed his ice time interest. Now, one thing I do want to say, a lot of people did not expect Doc to be the stud that he was. And like hindsight's 2020, I think both of us were pretty big on Doc when he was drafted.
Yeah.
But there could have been 5 or 6 other guys that were drafted at that position. And I think part of it was the communicating of like, this is what your expectation is going to be. We're going to start you here. We're going to ease you in here. We're going to sit you tonight. Things like that. I think those are credit where credit's due to Colliton managing Doc's ice time and managing his responsibility. I can definitely give that. To that point, though, I think you're right about he hasn't proven enough to warrant an extension. I just wonder if getting the extension taken care of gets rid of a stressor that could cause things to go negatively, if that makes sense. At least properly articulated.
To help out Boquist here, with defensemen, like you don't see many defensemen step in right away and become these big talents. It takes a while because offense is defense. Offense is different. Offense is like, okay, you score goals, you pass the puck. Defense, you have to have your entire situation, like where the puck is, where your body needs to be. And that's different coming from like the Q or SHL or college compared to the big leagues in the NHL. Rasmus Dahlin, the same draft Boquist was taken where we got Zadina.
1 overall.
He was number 1 overall. He's supposed to be the next big thing. He was supposed to be better than Nick Lidstrom. He probably will be. He could be. But I haven't paid much attention to Buffalo. I don't hear much about him. They're 0-3 right now. Like, it's going to take time for a Dahlin, for a Boquist, for whoever.
The other thing is this, so many teams and just even fans, like they see these defensemen who come out of drafts, and so many fans are so eager to see these high picks instantly make that jump. And the realistic thing is, out of any given draft, you've got maybe 3 kids out of that draft who make the jump immediately, and that's it. Maybe. I mean, like you look at even like players drafted around Boquist or like spot in like other drafts, the draft that you guys took, Kirby Doc, for example, Bowen Byram was slotted to potentially go third overall that draft. Bowen Byram looks to be a great defenseman. Even he's not putting, Cale McCarr or Quinn Hughes numbers right now. He's not putting those sort of stats up or playing those roles. The fact is, I mean, like David was saying, you've got defensemen who need to fill out frames because the NHL is a very physical league. If you're a defenseman and you're getting towards the boards, you can't just expect to puck handle your way out. You get defensemen who can, but again, they're very few and far between, and you need size to help you do it. On top of that, it's defense and offense both at the same time, knowing when do you recoil off of a rush, when do you try to control the perimeter on a power play versus walking in towards the middle and trying to set up one of your players in the slot. There's so much more responsibility for a defenseman than there is a forward.
Yep.
They're basically responsible for two zones, the neutral zone and their own zone. It takes time. These players don't happen overnight. And you've got a guy like Boquist who, yes, I think offensively he can be talented, but it's going to take time to learn proper positioning, proper spacing, even just proper decision-making in a high-intensity league like the NHL, when you didn't really have a lot of time to adjust at the second tier level just below that.
No, yeah. And I mean, I know it takes time for defensemen. Like that's the hardest position to develop. Like you got to get bigger. It's all a mindset too. But to backtrack this, to get back on track with the whole thing behind Colliton, I understand he's a good communicator with these young players. Like, I understand that. Like, I think Kirby Doc's mentioned it several times, and Boquist even says it. Like, he's good with these young guys, but I think his career path, it would have made more sense to spend time with these young guys in the AHL, develop them down there.
Definitely.
That's
And
what
then
Blashill did.
if you and when those AHL guys are ready to come up, maybe you bring up Colliton with them. Whether it be start off as an associate coach, or you come up right away and go be the head coach. I mean, yeah. In hindsight, it's hard to say that just because who would have filled in for Quinnville when they decided to fire him? Like it's hard to put that into context. But like I think for Colliton's career path, just where he's at compared to all these other NHL coaches, I think it would have made more sense to even let himself develop with these young guys in the AHL. And that's what's frustrating the most. Is just because this whole thing feels rushed. It just feels rushed. Like we're trying to make him like the next hot, like, I don't know how to compare it. Like Sean McVay in the NFL. Like he's
A
this
young, smart coach.
Yes, he's this
Sheldon
young
Cooper.
coach. Yeah.
Or what? Not Sheldon Cooper. What's the
Sheldon
what's
Keefe.
the-
Sheldon Cooper.
Sheldon Keefe in Toronto.
Yeah, Sheldon Keefe and then Cooper in
John Cooper.
John Cooper.
Yes.
Shuffle them together and
Yeah. And
I
what
mean,
you're
it's like all the sorry, David. It's just like everybody wants to get rushed to get this next young coach,
Right.
and it feels like this whole thing was rushed with Jeremy Colliton.
And what you're saying, what you wanted is exactly what we did with Blashill. Blashill started in the Griffins. He won the Calder Cup with them, I think twice. Jordan,
I think he just won it once, but the other year that he didn't win it, he took them pretty deep into the playoffs.
Okay, he did take them pretty deep. And he worked with a lot of these guys that are our core right now. So like he knows them and he came up with them, and now we have that. I agree with you. I think that would have been a better idea for Colliton. I don't think getting rid of Q during the season like that was probably a great idea. Maybe
They should have just rode that out.
let him ride it out, have Colliton work with those young guys, even have the assistant coach take over if you're going to get rid of Q. Don't just immediately bring Colliton up.
Well, my thing is, and I said it when you guys got rid of Quinnville, I'm not a huge advocate of any team getting rid of their coach midway through the season unless it is very obvious that your coach is not doing the things that they should be doing right.
Or they punched a baby.
Yeah, like it's one thing if your team is 0-15 to start the season, then yes, go get a different coach because it's clear the systems aren't working.
Yep.
But that's not the situation that Quinnville was in. He wasn't, putting them in the spot they had been, previous years, but they were not bottom of the barrel, just complete trash heap underneath him. And I really think management made a mistake letting him go mid-season.
I want to say there was 6-3 when Quinnville got fired, so they were 500.
Did they
Yeah.
just want to get rid of him for some reason? Like, was there like, did they
Him-
see Colliton as this next big thing? Kind of like how the Capitals saw what's his face as the next big thing.
Todd Reardon.
Yeah,
And they let their Stanley Cup winning coach walk.
I mean, Stan and Joel never seen really eye to eye. Like I think Joel wanted more control over Ross. Like, there was like a story going around when Stan traded Nick Hjalmarsson. Joel was just pissed. He was livid. Like, that was his guy, and they never see eye to eye. And Stan had no ties to Quinnville. Stan, when he came on, he inherited Joel Quinnville. Like, that wasn't his hire. So
I think he's one of your best coaches in my research.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's the best coach.
I also think this was like the third year in a row that they were struggling.
Yeah.
And when you look at the series of events as a map, you see we got bumped in game 7 against the Blues in the playoffs. Then we got swept by Nashville. Then we're getting out front and we're going again and it's sputtering. I think they made a knee-jerk reaction. They said, we got to do something. We can't do a big move or shift with players. You fire the coach. As Q said 1,000 times, this is a winning business.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not winning, everyone knows you're on the hot seat. I personally figured the plan would be let Q write out his contract or even get through the year, let him go and get Colliton, just from what I was following with Rockford. But I think that they went with, especially McDonough, we give Stan a lot of crap, justifiably, for a lot of good reasons. I think there's a lot of moves that McDonough made from a business and marketing side that he made on the sense of, we have to do something for PR, for Hawks tickets, for the brand. And he made a business decision and got rid of Quinnville to shake things up.
I get that.
I'm not crazy about that. And that's just my theory on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shit show right now when like the two best run Chicago organizations are owned by Jerry Reinsdorf.
Hey, Sox are exciting.
Yeah.
It feels so weird and so good.
It's to lighten the mood a little bit. Like, between the Bears, Blackhawks, and Cubs, it's like, what the hell is going on here? And yeah, I mean, this could have all been hell. It all stems back to 2.5 years ago now. Like, this could have been an easier transition. Like, Jeremy Colliton would have way less pressure, but maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe there's more pressure added now that Stan Bowman got that promotion to president of hockey ops. And, this is a big season. Like, if we don't see signs of development, Stan's going to have a lot of pressure on him, just because, like, Danny Wirtz could be like, all right, so where is this going? Like, he at Colliton hasn't developed anyone. We just paid him. You just got promoted, and this is still stagnant. So, like, there's a lot of pressure on these two. So, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope Colliton develops like a guy like Kurashev or Pius Suter, who I'm sure we're going to be talking about later.
We're definitely going to talk about them a little bit.
So, I feel like, my rant wasn't as bad. Mark Lazarus kind of saved Colliton's ass after, the false reported numbers of Dominic Kubalik's ice time. So I didn't have to get into that. But, so there's my thoughts on Jeremy Colliton. I know mostly negative, but this is the situation he was thrown into.
We talked it out.
They were all very valid, and I know sometimes I sort of play the role of the wide-eyed optimistic, like, everyone's just having so much fun on the ice, and you can tell the friendships they're making. But
yeah.
But like, no, those are all super valid concerns, and like, I see them too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
I kind of pessimist.
Now, I kind of do want your guys' opinion though on like a theory that I've seen like circulating around. I think it's pretty obvious this year from the Hawks that this is a throwaway season. You look at this roster, this is not a playoff roster. Everybody knows this. Do you think that this extension is given due to the fact that there's no actual timeline on Taves coming back. They don't have a definitive timeline on Seabrook coming back or the goaltending situation getting better. And the idea is they're inking Colliton to this extension because they're going to use him at the NHL level and basically just use it to develop these players, not expecting to win, not expecting to, take the league by storm. He's strictly going to be used and implemented as a coach to facilitate growth at the NHL, and that's all he's expected to do.
Yeah.
I got a two-parter there. The first part is looking at this season in general, I am going to lay out a prediction. I don't think any coach gets fired this year in the middle of the season. I think that every team is looking at this as across the league, we're going to see more sloppy play. We're going to see more goals scored, like higher goal scores, lower save percentages for goalies and whatnot. I think it's going to be a wonky season that no coach gets canned halfway through the season or anything like that. To the second point, based on what your question was, you're right. There's no Tays this year. Doc's out for the year. Nylander's out for the year. And Doc and Nylander are two of your number one players that you wanted developing. This is kind of a wash year, and the only way it's not a wash year is if we have Colliton focused not necessarily on we got to make sure that we win every game and figure this out, and more of, okay, I don't have to necessarily worry about my job. Let's make sure that we see some sort of progression and development, and now it's not a wash season. Now there was a purpose to it.
Yeah. I'm going to really back up Tim there. Like, he's going to be here for this season and next season for sure.
Yep.
Like, maybe after next season, depending on how these next two seasons go, there talks about firing him, but like, he's going to be locked in for this season, next season, just because he doesn't have Doc, Taves, Nylander. Like, next year he will have those guys, and we'll see how everything works with all three of them back, and whoever else we had or whoever else develops down in Rockford when they get going, or taxi squad guys. So he's going to be here for a little bit, and I think the extension, is just because they needed to lock someone up. Like, they had to have something, and like, they're not going to go out and pay a highly priced head coach. So this is what their guy, and they basically just got to stay loyal to him now.
Yep.
So that was a bit to talk about for Hawks news. I just mentioned Seabrook just a moment ago, but reports basically saying that it was a back injury that was keeping him out, and he's actually skating now. So again, no definitive timeline for sure when he's going to be coming back from the club, but at least the fact that he's skating is a positive sign looking forward. The other piece of news, Soderberg, he has officially cleared the quarantine period, so he should be looking to join the team soon. That's another centerman that you're going to get who should at least be somewhat stable for you, helping that depleted depth that you have with Taves and Doc out. I don't have any other Hawks news unless you guys can think of something I forgot to mention.
No, I just want to touch on Seabrook. Just, I'm looking forward to having him back. They miss a locker room presence like with Taves out. So he's one of those leaders that's going to motivate these young guys, these young defensemen. He's going to be a good mentor. And, although you may say like maybe his play is bad, but like having him around to help these guys like Boquist, who's struggling, or Ian Mitchell, who's the next young thing, Wyatt Keleniuk, Lucas Carlson, Nicholas Beaudin, he's going to be a big part in the locker room. If those guys have a bad night, he goes there and helps them out. Like, he's vocal in the locker room. He's a locker room guy. So excited to have Seabrook back for this depleted roster.
Yeah, right. I absolutely echo that. We clearly, with Tays out, it's obvious how much we miss Siebes and that voice. So very, very excited to get him back as soon as he can. On ice play, I hope that the surgeries have given him a little bit more step, and I hope that he regains a little bit of what made him great. But regardless, his presence is going to be worth more this year than anything.
We can move on to a little bit of Wings news that we have this week. We don't really have a ton of it, but we do have just two little pieces. The first is that Robbie Fabry and Adam Ernie are both off the lineup just due to COVID protocols. We knew this was going to happen going into the season. It's going to happen to probably every team in the league.
Oh, of course.
You're going to have players leaving your rosters. There's nothing you can do about this. I don't think it's a cause for alarm. You got to you have to do what you have to do in this situation, and that's the decision that has to be made.
Yeah, exactly. They may not even have COVID. They might have just come into contact with someone that does. That happens all the time. We see that in a lot of professional sports. And the fact that we didn't have the 14-day quarantine and they're in the bubbles and that's all they can do, they can only be in the bubble. We knew it was going to happen. You're right.
And then the other piece of news, which I guess we could talk about, I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast plenty of times, but it's now official. Dylan Larkin is the captain of the Detroit Red Wings. Like I said, we've talked about this on this podcast ample times before, so I don't think we really need to get into it super deep.
Well deserved.
It's well deserved. Dylan Larkin is far and away the best centerman on the team. He's always talking to the media, leading by example. He brings his A game every day.
Yep. He's a leader. He carries respect in the locker room. He's only 24, but he has the respect of the team. Like even the veterans that were on the team, like Nielsen, when we had Cronwall, when we had Zetterberg. Like Zetterberg, you could see was grooming him to be his replacement.
Yeah, he was basically attached at Zetterberg's hip for his first season of the league. One thing I really did like, though, is when they were talking to him during his interview about being given the captaincy, he said something that I really liked. He said that when he was talking to Steve Yzerman said, "Don't let this change who you are. Stay who you are, and don't put too much pressure on yourself to turn this thing around." I really like that quote from Steve Yzerman.
Oh, Steve knows exactly what it's like.
Steve Yzerman in his interviews has said, a lot of fans try to attribute the resurgence of hockey in Detroit strictly to him, but he said, it wasn't just me. It was Sergei Fedorov. It was Nick Lidstrom. It was Chris Osgood. It was Brendan Shanahan. One guy's not going to do it alone. And I like that Steve Yzerman told Dylan Larkin the exact same thing.
Yeah, like Yzerman became captain towards like the end of the Dead Wings era, where we were a joke. And we're not necessarily a joke because there aren't really any joke hockey teams anymore, just the ones we like to make fun of. But any given day, an NHL team can surprise you. But we were a joke back then. Like we were a shadow of the old Wings that were Stanley Cup winners. And so, yeah, I like that quote too, because he's saying, look, we're in the same skates. Basically, you were basically in the same skates I was. You're in a team that's rebuilding our future. We don't know when we're going to be competing, but that's great. I also like how he told him, like, do you want to be the captain? Like he didn't say you're the captain. He's like, you want this? Are you ready for this? So that was really cool to hear.
Yeah, I mean, such a prestigious honor for a young guy like Dylan Larkin to be finally the captain of a top franchise in all of sports. And official congratulations. This is a long time coming for Dylan Larkin, but yeah, awesome to hear from him. But what's with Stevie Y asking these weird ass questions? Like, hey Dylan, do you want to be like, he was asking Kirby Doc if he smoked weed before the scouting. Yeah. And then now he's asking, hey Dylan, I know this was 5 years in the making, but do you want to be captain of the Red Wings? Like, yeah, dumbass, I do.
You know what? You say that. Every once in a while, there's someone that's like, you know what? I think that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. I'm able to like coast a little bit. Marian Hossa never had a letter for us, and yet his presence and his leadership was everything. Some guys don't need a letter, but Larkin deserved it. We were going back and forth. There's no one else that really would have been the captain.
Besides Sam Gagne.
Yeah, he'll wear it when we play Chicago. But yeah, it was well deserved. Really happy for him. I think he's already shown that leadership on the ice in these first 3 games, which we'll talk about. But Jordan, there was 2 other pieces of news. One that we talked about last episode, but then it happened. Svechnikov cleared waivers.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is.
We were all we were all saying our farewells. We were like, goodbye, Evgeny. Go enjoy playing with your brother. But no one bid on him. So I was sad, but I was a little happy about it because I'm like, I still see a future with him, and I want to see a future with him. Like, bad luck can't keep happening. Something good has to happen, and maybe it'll be with us. Who knows? And then Diego too, clear waivers.
I thought that was interesting. I mean, I know because of how COVID's working, the salary cap is a complicated beast right now.
Mhm.
And just even financially speaking, clubs have to be really careful with their dollars because of the fact that a lot of the NHL's revenue is generated through tickets, through concessions at stadiums, through merchandising at stadiums. And so, yeah, these teams do have to be careful with dollars. But I think that is interesting that nobody claimed him and even took a chance on him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really couldn't believe not a single team was looking at him and saying, yeah, we'll try it.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
I'm a-
especially. Oh, go ahead, David. Sorry.
I'm just a little worried that like Carolina talked to, and they're like, "Hey, do you want your brother here?" Nah, fuck him.
Especially in a league that like more immortalizes. I don't know if that's the right word, but immortalizes. Yes, there it is. Former first round picks, like with that attachment to them, that just makes them a high commodity, and
Mhm.
usually teams take a chance on that. Like we've seen it with David Rundblad. I think he was a first round pick.
I'm surprised that Bowman didn't grab him. Honestly, he loves reclamation projects. He loves former first round picks and says, what if this is the one? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like it would have made sense with our roster, but like, maybe who knows? I mean, who knows what Evgeny Svechnikov? He's on
Maybe
taxi
they
squad
will.
now, right?
Right now, no. I think they're waiting to make sure that he's healthy before they put him on.
Okay.
I
So
mean-
I mean, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe this is just another step in. Maybe he needs someone. Don't ever root for injury, but if someone goes down, maybe he's finally the guy that steps into a role and shines.
I'm not gonna root for injury, but I'll put it this way: as soon as he gets healthy and he is able to skate, I want to see Nielsen off the taxi squad down in Grand Rapids, and I want Svechnikov on the taxi squad.
Oh hell yeah! I
Um,
didn't even see Nielsen today. That's how invisible he is to me.
We'll get into that a little bit later too, because that's something I kind of want to touch on. Yeah, those are the pieces of Wings news that I think are really worth noting. We didn't talk about it, but they picked up Christian Jaduz off of waivers. Again, we're waiting to see what happens with that.
He'll be our
Pick
seventh
up.
defenseman.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's not an amazing pickup. I don't really think we need to talk about it too much, but
Yes,
it's something to
please.
note. So since we're back in the regular season though, and hockey is officially back, let's get back to the old schedule because it has been way too long.
Oh yes.
Rewind.
All right. So for anybody who has started listening to us since the off season, last season we had two segments, a flashback and a flash forward. Basically, in these segments, we look at the week that was and the week that is looking to be. We make predictions. We reflect on the games, standout players, just making quick notes that we thought were important to talk about. And then just sort of, looking at these schedules moving forward and just sort of, I guess, predicting what we think games will go like. And so we started with the Blackhawks this podcast. Let's go ahead and talk about the Hawks week that was, because it was a rough one.
Yeah, that's saying it nice.
I mean, I didn't want to say it I didn't want to say it was a trash heap, but
No,
I mean,
no. There's
inside of a
plenty
dumpster
of little
fire.
victories.
so I'll give the score rundown and then we'll walk through game by game and just sort of dissect what happened. So they lost 5-1 to Tampa the very first game back. They lost 5-2 to Tampa the game after, and then they lost 5-2 to Florida. So three straight losses.
Of 5 goals.
5 goals in 3 games and 15 goals against in 3 games. So basically, it's an imitation version of the Detroit Red Wings last year.
Yeah,
I
feels
mean,
a lot
yeah.
like that, frankly.
Yeah, you said the magic number. I mean, 15-5, they're being outscored the first 3 games.
but our core side numbers are great. There's your fancy stats for you.
Yeah, joy.
No, I do think it's worth noting these games, two of them were against the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Of course.
None of us expected them to win these 2 games. Nobody expected this. If you betted on this game, I'm sorry, because they got blown out pretty handedly.
I bet against him like a smart guy.
If you were smart, you betted against the Hawks. I really want to just talk about in general what happened this week. Just offensively, defensively, it looked messy.
The biggest concern that I have based on these 3 games, you're right. The games against Tampa, it's not even fair. They've got almost all of their Stanley Cup winning team back versus our injury-ridden ragtag bunch of people trying their best. But the big thing that concerns me is the way that play has been falling apart around the net. It seems like most of the big miscues, most of the where things just sort of collapse, it's around our net. And I don't know if it's communication, if it's the fact that we had no preseason games, that guys are still getting a sense of each other. Our goalies are still figuring out how to communicate. You know, Delia said after the second game, there was a miscommunication with Keith. That's the kind of stuff that comes with a little bit of time and practice, but that's the big thing for me, because almost all of the goals that were things that like I was genuinely upset about all came from miscommunications and lapses in judgment around the net.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's the defensive aspect of it. And offensively, they struggle entering the zone. They can't get in. I mean, the most dynamic looking line for at least the first 2 games, I should say. First game at least, was the Camp, Carpenter, and Highmore line. Like that's all. That's the only line that really developed true chances. Game 1. But yeah, what a bunch of what Tim said. Like they're just like there's guys falling down right in front of that. There's nobody. There's no one
Missing
covering
pucks.
no one covering a guy in the slot. I think Lucas Walmark had he missed his assignment last night, and yeah, it's just bad. I mean, I don't know if it's, I already shit on Colliton enough earlier in the episode. I don't know if it's like man on man's weird when it's not a normally run system in the NHL, and that's what his system is. So I'm not going to put full blame on that. Like again, like Tim said, there's no preseason games. Like these guys are coming into a new system that they're really not familiar with, and it's hard. So game 1 specifically, I thought Malcolm Subban, he made some great saves. He looked good. His issue, what has always been his issue, is he lets in those soft ones. Like maybe 3 goals were on him for lack of rebound control.
His rebound control is the major concern for me.
Yes, like it's just and like that's what he is. Like that's what he makes those spectacular saves. He makes those highlight reel saves. But like the little tricklers, or I think he came out to play a puck and just fired it into open, like nobody was there, and it just was an easy Tampa Bay held possession, and it led to a goal. So I mean, little things like that, he'll like if he could control those rebounds, that's going to take some work with Jimmy Waite. Maybe he could develop into something. What else for notes? I mean,
I think the second and third game, the line that really stuck out to me, especially the third game, I thought that the line of Kubalik, Strome, Kurashev looked really, really nice. I would consider Kurashev and his 2 games that he's played so far as something to be excited about.
Yeah.
He's been making plays. He's been holding his own. You've seen him handle some zone entries. It's something like that. Watching his progression along with Pius Suter and Ian Mitchell made the last 3 games things that we got beat bad, but those guys are starting to hold their own and figure it out. And that's exciting to me.
Yeah. I mean, again, more positives. I thought Andrew Shaw we missed him greatly. Game one, he looked fantastic. Like he was, there was one specific play. There was a loose puck and it was a battle. Like I forgot what Tampa defenseman was going after, but Shaw came out from the corner, poked it free, and it led to an open chance in the slot. Made a good save. Lucas Wallmark, I'm kind of a fan of. I always thought I was going to like him. I think he's going to be a nice third line player. But Ian Mitchell, he's playing confident. It's just, he's getting caught in these like 2-on-1s the other way, which, it's a loss. It's a lost season. Like, go learn from your mistakes. I'm fine with that. But again, the main concern for me is Boquist. Like, he's looked awful.
I think the thing that scares me the most with Boquist is that he still looks timid.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have here. He looks scared playing. Like he doesn't.
And that's where Mitchell, yes, he's getting caught on rookie, things like 2-on-1s and things like that. But he's making decisions and he's going for it. And you're able to teach and coach things when they're doing things that you can teach and coach. If you're not making the decision, even if it's wrong, if you're not making the decision, they can't, there's nothing to fix.
Yeah. I'd much rather see what is going on with Ian Mitchell. Like Ian Mitchell's just taking chances,
Yeah. And God bless him. That's what he's a rookie.
Yeah. He's not hesitating. That's the thing. Like he's just going for it. It's like forwards should be responsible. If they see Ian Mitchell in, someone has to go back there and cover.
Yeah.
And the 2-on-1s he got, they go the other way sometimes, and it's gonna happen. He's gonna learn from it, and I'm fine with that. Like that wasn't a knock on him. Like it happens. No. So I like what I see. He's playing confident, and that's the exact opposite for Boquist. Like he's a smaller frame, and so he got outbodied game one. He took a lazy holding penalty just because he didn't know what to do. Like he was just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was just like, and like he's not looking like that power play quarterback what we thought he's going to be, and that's the thing that concerns me.
Which again, maybe in 2-3 years time, he will be. Maybe it's irresponsible and wrong to put him on the first power play right now. Yeah,
he's just scared.
Say, a guy that I've been really excited about, Zadorov. Has really been a presence and a positive presence. Like the big concern was, okay, he plays the body, great. He leads the league in hits, great. Sometimes he makes boneheaded decisions and his hockey sense isn't the strongest. I've seen him disrupting a lot of entries this year. I've seen him playing the body smart. I feel like watching those 3 games, his name was a name I ended up hearing a lot in a positive tone.
And I feel like a lot of what's going on with Zadorov too, like his boneheaded decisions, like there was a couple of times he was caught on Boquist's side of the ice. I think it's all because he's playing with a defenseman that's kind of just, I like to say the word out to lunch, where he's just like, he doesn't know what to do.
I like that.
And like, so Zadorov's just, he's trying to do whatever he can to just help him out, or like, he's picking him up where he's lacking in the defensive zone. So, I thought he's been playing fine. Like, sure, he's on the wrong side of the ice sometimes because he's, is
covering or doing whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, like he's just helping out. So, I'm fine with him. Like, he's a good addition. I think he's going to continuously help Boquist's development when it gets there.
How about that spinorama move for Suter?
I forgot. I didn't even touch on Pius Suter yet. Holy shit.
I'm thrilled for his first NHL point. Granted, his first one got taken away, but then he did get the next one.
Yes. I mean, it would have been way cooler if it was that spinorama to Kane. I mean, even in, what was it, game 2? There was like a rebound in front of the net. He went in between the legs to try to fire it past Vasilevsky.
I'm excited to watch him.
He's playing good. Like, it's not all negative. I mean, we went 0-3, but we're not all negative. We take the little victories.
Look, the negatives are obvious. We got outscored 15-5 in 3 games. I'm not going to say everything's good.
Your team is a mismatched group of players that don't have most of your stars.
This is how it's going to be. Also,
exactly.
We're just got to deal with it.
We go get our asses kicked. Like, well, you know what? Ian Mitchell had a nice shot on the power play.
That is how we survive this year.
Yeah.
And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, my Detroit guys, that's how you guys survived last year.
Mm-hmm.
Did I survive?
I mean, that is how you limped through last year.
Only to get
Bandaged.
screwed over in the draft.
But I think honestly, like you see like from a lot of these young players for the Hawks, you see moments where you see the potential that they have. I mean, you mentioned Boquist not being confident. That's true most of the time. But every once in a while, when you get that glimpse of where it looks like he knows what he's doing and he feels confident, he looks like he belongs. I mean, the problem is, though, I don't want to say there's too much pressure there, or maybe that they're not used to the pressure because, they're professional athletes at this point, so they should be used to pressure. But it almost feels like some of the players necessarily aren't used to having this level of pressure this quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's where a season like this one, where it's like a lost cause, like go ahead, go fuck up, like go mess up. Don't be afraid to do it. Like
Use something.
I just want to see
Just stand
him
there.
be himself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're gonna mess up, we could coach you on that. We'll go to the video room. We'll coach you. But
Yep.
like, just go play stupid. Like, go ahead, play stupid. Just play. Don't play like you got poop in your pants or something.
It's like, that's the thing is, it's, if a coach sees you making bad decisions, they can look at the video and they can break it down with you and say, when you were defending this rush, you picked this guy right here. When you had these two players over here coming down, this guy didn't have coverage. Instead of picking this guy, you should have, for example, fell back towards the middle of the ice, waited for the 2-on-1 to happen. And then when you saw the pass getting ready to happen, you just drop to the ground and hope you can catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like little things like that, you can teach to players when you see them do things that they shouldn't be doing. But, just not doing anything, you can't do anything with that. You can't say, you made a good decision, you made a bad decision. With no decision, there's no feedback to give.
Yep.
100%, Jordan. Now nailed on that.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Scott.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Now I want to ask you guys, I mean, obviously this roster is depleted right now. I mean, again, Taves is out, Doc is out, Seabrook is out,
Nylander.
goaltending is a question mark, Nylander's out. Based on this roster that we have right now for the Hawks, if you're looking at just general takeaways from this week of like just either things that players need to learn or that players did well, did you guys have any in particular that you thought were worth noting?
I mean, when it comes to what do people have to do better, I honestly think it's getting reps in. It's a lot of those mental miscues and a lot of the miscommunications that I saw. It's just getting reps in. I think we're going to know what this team is in 2 weeks to a month. I think it's way too soon to tell if what we know where our deficiencies are, but it's too soon to tell like where the major issues this year are going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. I think depending on how this second week goes, I still think it's a couple weeks until like everybody's on the same page with this team.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's gonna be hard for this because we plan on using the taxi squad quite a bit. So it's gonna be a revolving door of guys in and out, and it's just all about getting reps. As cliche it is, practice and game time. It's all it takes.
These first few weeks, in my opinion, are basically the preseason. Yes, we're in the season, but this is the preseason mentality. Figuring out how things work, how to gel, all that stuff. This is the season preseason.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier too when you're not a playoff team. Like if this is a playoff, like say if we were 0-3 to start this season, if you go on a 5-game losing streak this season, you're behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's a benefit to this season though. Like we want to go on 5-game losing streaks. We want Owen power at the end of the year. So
now we're gonna jump you somehow, I hope.
It'll be a revenge for you guys jumping us and taking Kirby Doc. That's what it'll be. We can talk about the Red Wings week this week because they've had a kind of an interesting one, I think. So
1-2.
1-2 with the record. They lost 3-0 to Carolina the first game of the season. They won 4-2 the next game, and then they lost today 2-3 to Columbus. Mm-hmm. So the first game versus Carolina, Detroit came out and they looked rusty. I think there were a lot of feet passes where it's not stick that's catching them like it should be. It's your feet. You can't be doing that at the pro level. You're not going to have success because that added second that it takes to get the puck from your feet and get it onto your stick and prep it for the next pass.
Yep.
That's how quick someone closes the gap on you. I think that lost them this game, to be honest.
It did. But the score didn't show the real game. Yes, it was 3-0, but we improved, I think, second period, like halfway second period and third period, I think we were much more improved. But they scored their second goal towards the end, like 2 minutes left in the game, maybe less. And then they scored the third goal as an empty netter. Like it looked bad on paper. And yes, we were rusty to start because, like Tim said, like we've all been saying, no preseason, no real time to gel, very short training camp. A lot of players were playing overseas. But I don't think we weren't the Red Wings of last year.
No.
We looked, even with the mistakes, with the feet passing, all that stuff, we looked so much more improved, even though we lost 3-0.
The second game versus Carolina, which we won 4-2, again, I think some of the passing deficiencies were there, but I think in terms of just actually playing a team game, the team did a lot better. And I think that we did a better job on capitalizing the actual chances we actually generated. Like Zadina's pickpocket pass to Fabry, so good.
That was beautiful. Like I watched that happen. I was ecstatic. He had 2 assists that game. Bobby Ryan got his first goal as a wing. Beautiful setup. He was in the right place, right time. Like he knew where to be. That's the veteran mindset that he has. That's the Bobby Ryan we wanted to see. He could be a 40-plus goal season. I'm just probably not, but that'd be amazing. But the team looked much more composed. We were getting the passes when we needed. Zadina played well. We had our top 2 lines were fantastic. Like we already knew the MLB line, Mantha, Larkin, Bertuzzi was going to be great. That's our number 1 line. But seeing Fabry, seeing Zadina, and seeing Ryan together, that was just a good compliment to our first line.
And that was it. Like having 2 lines that were actually contributing to like scoring at this game, I thought was the difference maker. And the third and fourth lines, like they weren't really generating like production, but just they were keeping the game in check when the top 2 lines were not out there, and that was key.
Yep, for sure.
And then the loss today versus Columbus, that's a 1-goal game. I thought they looked really good against Columbus. I like the neutral zone play a lot. I like the fact that they just seem to constantly keep Columbus in the chase and just wore them out.
Yep.
Who was it? Was it Mantha or Bertuzzi who had, or was it Larkin or Bertuzzi who had the pass to Mantha when he was in the slot?
It was Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi slotted it right over the sliding defenseman, and I thought it was going to go. And God, what a save! Perfect sliding glove save.
I mean, if Mantha has even 5 more inches of lift on that puck, that's a goal. And on top of that, they hit, I think it was 4 posts today. I mean, this game, for all intents and purposes, the Wings could have won this one had they had a little bit better luck and had Korpisalo not made that terrific save on Mantha.
Yep, it was fun to see in these last couple of games, like these first 3 games too, the grit we have. How if we go down 3-1 last year, it was just sluggish the rest of the game, but they kept fighting, literally fighting. Like we had a fight breakout.
That's a beautiful brawl.
A nice brawl. And the 2 best friends with Larkin and Werenski, Larkin gave his family tickets to the game so they could, see him play, and the friends, and you could see them like laughing as they were punching each other. Like they were having a good time, but it shows the leadership in Larkin. And if I can jump back to the last game, he had 2 goals last game, and he should have had a hat trick, but he, being the leader and the person he is, tried to get Nemestikov his first goal.
That's
so good.
That's the thing. Like, I liked watching that game, not only just for the play, but I really liked seeing that out of Larkin, the fact that he could have had the hat trick in that game, but he's not being selfish with it, and confidence is a big thing. Nemestikov was actually putting decent chances up, but he just couldn't capitalize for whatever reason.
I mean, this is a 9-day difference for you guys. Like last year.
God, yes.
Last year,
I
this
don't think
team
we
would
had
have
any happiness
blown
last
out by the Hurricanes. Like you guys, I bet you guys are having fun watching these Red Wings.
year.
Yeah,
It was real fun.
and like
I'm having fun watching these Red Wings.
Yeah.
I love that second line. Putting Bobby Ryan up there, I think, is the right choice.
Called
You-
it. Called
You
it.
did. No, definitely.
Jordan's like, oh, he's a third liner. I'm like, no, he's gonna be second line.
You know, I liked Nemesnikov up there, but I think slotting Ryan opposite of Zadina and then having Fabry and like they complement their skill sets very well, and then they
Mhm.
also complement the maturities and the personalities. It's the line that you need to take pressure off of Bertuzzi, Larkin, Mantha. And then that puts Nemesnikov on the third line. You guys have depth this year.
yeah,
Like, this is going to be a team that it's going to be up and down. You're going to be, having heart attacks all year, but it's going to be exciting to watch. That's really cool. And Grice and Bernier have been really nice for you guys.
Yep, neither one has really let in, I would say, softies so far. I mean, Grice has been absolutely as advertised this season. I don't blame him for any of the goals scored against him. Same with Bernier. I don't really blame him for the goals. One of the ones versus the Hurricanes, admittedly, like Larkin tried to make a bad play, turnover happened, and then you have a 2-on-1. That's going to happen
That's
in
hockey.
the NHL.
Like that happens.
That's hockey. But yeah, they both look great. Grice, his record's 0-2, but he could easily be 2-0. Like if the team in front of him was playing better. Like he had 40 saves that first game. He was getting peppered by that Carolina Hurricanes, and he was just stopping everything.
Yeah, he's looked good. I mean, him and Bobby Ryan. Bobby Ryan, nice little surprise.
Yep.
Yeah.
What does he have? 3 goals in 3 games?
He's got 2 goals so far.
He wasn't in game one. He was out with a minor injury.
I thought he scored 2 goals today.
He had one goal.
He had
today.
the one off of the face-off today, and then he
And
had
then
the
Mantha.
one.
I thought it went to Mantha.
Oh, did it go? Oh, yeah.
They credit it during the game to Mantha.
Okay.
Did they change that?
I thought it did. Because I thought didn't he slide into it and went in?
He got pushed into the goalie. Let me
Yeah,
check.
he got pushed into the goalie for that one, and that's when the whole scrum broke out.
Yeah, I thought he got credit. I was reading that. Oh shit! But still, I mean, 2 goals in 2 games. He's looking like the sniper that he once was.
Yeah.
What's
And
his
even
name?
Matthias Brome, he's been a really interesting
They gave
surprise
it to
for
him.
us.
They
They
gave it
gave
to
it
him.
to Robin. Yeah, so he had 2 goals. So 3
Oh,
goals.
oh.
and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. See, even better. He's on track for that 40-goal season, David.
Yeah, he didn't play game 1, and they interviewed him. He's like, "Yeah, I'll probably play." And then they asked him, "What made you choose to come to Detroit?" And he said, "Steve Yzerman." Like that's what he said, Steve Yzerman.
That's a big thing too. I mean, it's something small to think about right now, but free agents down the road, like that big time free agent. Imagine whatever he said to Bobby Ryan. Imagine what Steve's going to pitch to a big time free agent. Like that's exciting.
Like Patrick Kane in a couple of years.
Oh, jeez.
He's not
All
gonna
right.
put Chelios.
Anyway.
But no, I mean, just in terms of this week, I really like the Wings team that we saw this week, even though they have a 1-2 record. The game against Columbus, they were in that game, and I honestly think they were dominating that game. They got against a hot goaltender who made some great saves and got some post shots.
And,
If it's not for those, I think they win that game.
and the breakaway, it's hard to stop a breakaway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's hockey. It's going to happen. Every once in a while, bottom feeder teams can beat, these perennial playoff contenders. That's the name of the game.
These are all professional athletes. These are all people that were good enough to make a professional team. There is no crap team. It's not like, University of Alabama playing Citadel. That's not fair.
We can sort of reflect on this week, and I guess we'll sort of choose the star of the week right now, since we're talking about the week that was. Tim and Nick, who are your guys' Hawks star of the week if you were to pick somebody?
I forgot to mention him earlier during when we were highlighting some players, but perfect time for star of the week. I'm gonna go with Alex DeBrincat. He's looking like a former. I mean, not his former, but like this himself from 2 seasons ago, not last season, and he's got 2 goals, and he's firing off shots, he's developing and sliding into these great scoring opportunities. So it's good to see the Catman just kind of get back to his old ways, because I think last season was a fluke, but this is just reassuring that he can still put the puck in his net.
Nick, we're in agreement. I'm going with it's got to be DeBrincat, right?
It has to be. It has to be.
Those goals, we were talking about how he needed to score in the first couple of games, because otherwise that was just going to get into his head again. And those two, getting those 2 goals, not only seeing him score and produce, but also the fact that he's really started to look like a more well-rounded player and not just a sniper. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled with his play over the first 3 games.
Oh yeah,
he's got to be the number 1 star for me.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be it's big for him, because with all the stars down, this is gonna be a big season for him to shine.
It's time for him to be a star, and I think he will be.
Yeah, no longer. Yeah, he can't no longer be this secondary scoring guy. It's got to be
him and Kaner.
Got to be the lead singer. Got to be the lead singer.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad we're unanimous decision from the Blackhawks side.
I love it.
For the Wings, can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So watching the 3 games, I was leaning towards a few people. I was leaning towards Zadina, because the kid looked good. Like he looked like he could be this elite player we expect him to be. I leaned towards the new captain, Larkin, because the leadership, all that. But I decided to go with Bobby Ryan, the guy we were just talking about. He has 3 goals. In 3 goals in 2 games. He's a guy that dealt with a lot of personal issues that could have taken him away from the sport and distracted him from the sport. I mean, he had an alcohol problem. He went through rehab. People were questioning, is he going to be this Bobby Ryan of old? I remember watching him when he played for the Ducks and being like, oh my God, I wish we could have him. He is just so talented. And seeing him come here, work with guys like Zadina and Fabry on this line, people on the Reddit were saying this is like comparisons to the Datsuk, Devereaux, and Hull line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And no, they're not going to be like those 3, because those 3 are amazing. But these guys
legends.
are also, they're all legends. But these guys are also very, very good. And Bobby Ryan just took this line to another level. Like, yes, Nemestikov's great. Good kid. Love him. I see a lot of great things in him. But him on that second line, replacing him with Bobby Ryan, like night and day, like complete change of what that line could do. And we saw it. So, yeah, Bobby Ryan, my star of the week.
So my pick, Zadina did not have any goals this week. And I picked him even though he didn't have goals, because I saw a lot that I liked from him this week. I liked his handwork a lot. I liked his little pickpocket that he turned into a legitimate chance in goal with Robbie Fabry. I like his team play. I mean, when he was drafted, a lot of people were saying, he's going to be a pure sniper who's going to be playing very selfishly. He's done the exact opposite so far since he's been drafted. He's learned to use his teammates a lot more, and he's shown that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get this team into those positions where they can start winning games. The fact that when he pickpocketed and didn't just immediately go for the shot, he takes the puck behind the net, waits for Fabry to catch up to him for a second, then just feeds it to Fabry anyway. That's not selfish. That is selfless. He could have absolutely tried to go for a wraparound right there, but he didn't.
Yep.
I liked everything we saw from him this week. And he wasn't a defensive liability either. That's the other thing.
No, he's really honed his defensive game, which I was very shocked. Like, we looked at a couple episodes ago at like defensive stats, and he is putting up better defensive stats than some of the defenders that were drafted with him. But I loved watching him play. Can you imagine him with Raymond once Raymond makes it over here?
That's the thing. We talked to Max a couple weeks ago about, teams needing these elite wingers. If Zadina is, a defensively responsible winger who can play a great 2-way game and be like a mix of like a hybrid sniper playmaker, mix him with Raymond and Larkin, that is a true top line in the NHL for a cup contending team.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's my star of the week for sure. Like I said, no goals,
choice.
but
Good
he was
choice.
responsible for 2 of the goals that this team scored, and overall his play has just been really good.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about what you do with it on your stick. It's what you do without it too, without the puck on your stick. So
He'll be filling those nets. Don't worry. He'll be.
oh
filling.
yeah, he's you don't the goals getting goals from him is the last year concern. It's gonna come. It'll come. It's good to see him develop into this all around well-rounded player.
Elite.
Soon enough.
We can do a segment we call the flash forward now. And this one, it's going to be a look at the week coming up that we have for games. And this one, because of the fact of the way the division is set up, we get to see the rivalry pretty early this year.
So early.
We'll talk about the schedule really quick for the Wings and the Hawks coming forward. The Hawks' upcoming schedule for this week, they're going to play the Panthers again on the 19th. And then they're going to play against the Wings on the 22nd and the 24th. So we can give predictions on this one. Tim and Nick, we've started with the Hawks every segment in this episode. What are you guys' predictions, at least for the Panthers game? And then we're going to talk about the Hawks and Wings games together.
I think that we're going to lose, but we're only going to lose by 2 goals.
Okay.
And that's an improvement.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Yeah, we're not beating the Panthers. They look like they're in a completely different atmosphere than us, and like they're not like stars. Like they're great. They're a good team, but they're not like one of those top tier teams. But yeah, I think we still lose. All comes down to Coach Quinnville is going to find a way to do his thing and rub it in our faces that he's going to be successful. But I think we see Wyatt Kalynuk in for Boquist tomorrow. I think we see, if not tomorrow, we'll get to it. But Kevin Lincoln is going to be coming in sometime soon as well.
Definitely.
And I mean, if you want to cover your game before the Hawks, and that way we can.
Can I just do all 3 of mine right now?
Yeah.
All right.
If we do the flash, if we look back, we rewind to all of our past episodes, I rarely ever gave the Wings a win, much less more than 1 in our little flash forward weeks. but here we go. You ready?
So mad.
2, 3. Count them. We're gonna get 3 wins in a row.
Oh.
I'm livid.
See the 3? It's also a W because that's what we're gonna be flying. The dub.
I'm so fired up.
So the Wings, the game before the Hawks that we're going to play Columbus again tomorrow as well. So both teams are playing tomorrow.
I think we'll get them this time.
And I really do. I think it's a potential win again. And if we do lose, I think it's still going to be tight like it was today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do I think that Columbus was playing a little bit sloppy today? Sure. But you know what? They weren't playing sloppy enough to the point where it's going to be a night and day difference, I don't think. And it's not like their roster's missing a whole bunch of key pieces right now. It's going to be the same basic team. The only difference is they've had a day off. Well, not even a day off really to rest. Just they've had a period of time after a game to recover.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to make a prediction for this game, I think the Wings, they can win it. I think they'll win it probably by 1 goal, 2 if you want to count the empty netter. I never usually count empty netters in a score sheet because they're kind of gimmies. But speaking of those really quick, good job to the Wings today. They had the empty net for, what was it, like 2 minutes, 40 seconds.
There was so many times they should have scored on us. Dylan Larkin saved 2 of them, I think.
Yes, like even with the empty net, like Detroit's defensive play was great today. I want to give them props because we trashed on them last season for bad defensive play. They played really well in the defensive zone today.
Phenomenal.
And then Hawks Wings, guys.
The rivalry.
Hawks Wings.
So the Blackhawks and the Red Wings are going to play each other on the 22nd and the 24th, Friday and Sunday this week.
Like Gagne getting back hat tricks.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about him.
I don't think it's unrealistic to say that the Hawks can. I originally had us splitting the series with the Red Wings.
I'm going to say
I think we're going to get our first win against the Red Wings. I think you're going to get the other one, but I do see us walking away with a win from one of those games.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on the same boat. I think we split. Probably the Sunday game, I want to say. It's I'm excited to see the Hawks back. Even though it's an empty United Center, it's gonna be refreshing to see.
It's right. It'll be good to be back.
Yeah, it's gonna be refreshing. So yeah, I think we finally pull one out on home ice with whatever home ice advantage you kind of get this season.
I think it's probably going to be a split game, or sorry, split schedule for them. I think it's a 1-1. I think it's either a 1 or a 2 goal game, though. I don't think either game's going to be a blowout by any means. I think one of them will probably be a 2 legitimately goal loss, and then the other be a 1 goal loss. Like I said, I try not to count empty netters because those are usually gimmies. And yeah, they count on the score sheet for goals, but it's kind of hard not to score on an empty net when it's completely open if you're on a breakaway.
Boy, you say that.
Yeah, who
You
was
say that.
back in the late '90s?
Oh, he fell, and then they
Yep.
took the puck and scored on them.
Yeah,
That was
I forgot
Yep.
who it was.
I
That's
love
exactly
that.
what I'm
I think it was
thinking of.
Dallas. Wasn't it Dallas?
It was Dallas. I forgot what player it was though. Yeah, I think a split's probably the most realistic. David's riding the red wave.
I'm
So
riding the Gagne train.
yeah, I mean,
hate that.
I won't be shocked if he scores a hat trick. Let me just say that.
I've been saving him for these games.
Yeah, so I'm excited though. It's adds a little juice to the podcast, and next show should be interesting to recap it.
Yep.
No,
It's a shame we can't go this year, Jordan.
yeah, last year. So yeah, last year me and Nick got to meet up at the one down in Chicago that they played against. We can't do it this year because COVID protocols, all that. Unfortunately, it is.
Pandemic.
Maybe later in the season.
I mean, like if they're playing and they actually let fans in, I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't care what tickets cost. I'm gonna kill myself with overtime at work, and I'm going.
I don't think it'll be that much. The Hawks will probably be officially eliminated from the postseason by then. So
There'll be like $10 tickets back when they were just like bottom feeders. You can just
They'll
walk in
pay
for
you.
$10.
buy one get one free. Welcome back. Please come.
Please clap.
Please clap. Okay, Jeb Bush. Okay.
No, yeah, but yeah, it's I can't wait.
Can't wait.
Even when you're a struggling team, the juice is always slow when it comes to a team like the Red Wings. So
It's gonna
Now-
be fun to watch the rivalry renewed.
Now, one thing I
Well,
kind of wonder, do you think that they're gonna play like the chants and stuff over the loudspeaker that we're always going like at like the rivalry games? Because like for example, like the Hawks games, you'd always hear, the "Let's go Hawks, Detroit sucks" chants whenever they played. And in Detroit, sometimes like when Hawks fans would show up, they would shout, "Let's go Hawks," and then the Wings would chant back, "We win cups." Like, do you think they're gonna have those chants over the loudspeakers? Because I think that'd be kind of fun.
I don't think they will.
I hope they hire like those 5 meatballs that like erupt from the 300 level that scream "Detroit sucks." I hope they just hire them for those 2 games, and that way we could get our little, just so we could have it feeling good. I mean, I scream it too, but there's those people. There's those people that are loud. They're just like obnoxious.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
of course.
Hire them for 2 games. Why not?
Just like have them be like the people who get to sit in the stands for a game.
Yeah, they're essential workers.
But I think a 1-1 split is pretty fair for this matchup. If I'm looking at what's going to be the difference in these matchups, it's goaltending. Just I think plain and simple. I think Chicago has to outscore Detroit in order to win these games because they're not going to win by out goaltending. I don't think your guys' goalies are going to beat Bernier and Bryce. Bernier and Grice. I don't see it.
No, you're right. We're gonna have to outscore you guys if we want to win.
Yeah, that's when Kane, DeBrincat, Strome, those guys are going to get going.
Yep.
Kubalik,
I'd
yeah,
like
hopefully.
to see him get on the scoreboard. Frankly.
Yeah, he's doing all the right things. It's just he hasn't buried him.
You get
Think-
snake bit. Maybe it's his year.
I think just play him top line minutes. We've seen him succeed before. I mean he's thriving on the third line. Just give him more ice time. I already saved the rant about Colliton not playing him enough just because he got his ass saved. So let's just see more time for Kubalik and let him just shine. Let him use that shot.
All right. I can't wait.
It'll be a fun one.
Yeah, it's going to be.
That's it in terms of the Wings and Hawks schedule, the news, and all that. Nick, you had a really fun idea for us to do this week
Thanks.
because we don't have any any sort of like fan questions this week. Go ahead and walk us through it really quick, just so everyone is refreshed on the rules of what we're doing here for our little outro type segment.
Yeah, of course. Jordan, thank you for making me blush with the nice idea comment. So, there's we're going to do a snake draft, not a fantasy draft. It's just going to be a snake draft of, it's only between Blackhawks and Red Wings players since 2000. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically develop like an opening night line with these players. Like, so, say if for some reason, I selected Daniel Carcillo, nobody else could draft Daniel Carcillo. Yeah, I'm not giving away picks, so I had to make sure I pick a guy that nobody was going to
Speak
pick.
for yourself. I'm going Carcillo, Bowlig, John Scott, baby.
Yeah, I mean
Stephen Weiss.
Yeah, so essentially it's just gonna be like a, for those listening, if we're entering your ear holes right now, it's gonna be like a fantasy football draft where if they pick a player, you can't take him. He's gone. It's on them. So we're going to be drafting. Wait, sorry, David?
Sorry. Before the show started, you gave us our numbers too.
Yes, I'll do that right before. So 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, 1 goalie. And the order is Tim's going to start us off, then goes to David, and then myself. And then Jordan will get it. So Jordan will have 2 picks once it gets to him. And then if you guys want to defend your reasoning after each pick or something, throw a little side note in there or something, but all for it.
All right, Tim.
Tim, start us off.
First
This was a
selection belongs to
legitimately
Tim.
tough decision, but I got to go with Patrick Kane. I have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. 3 Hart Trophy winner, Conn Smythe, 3 Stanley Cups, best American player in NHL, going to be in NHL history.
You don't overthink that pick.
No, it's chalk. It's one of those things you put in Sharpie. You're so confident in.
That's the Lions' new coach, Dan Campbell. Everything in Sharpie. Alleged new coach, sorry. So now I'm on the board. Mine was not as hard to do. Offense is great, but defense is the ones that wins you games and wins you championships. And I went with the perfect human, Nick Lidstrom.
I almost went with Lindstrom.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
It's really good.
You got to have that elite defenseman.
He only won 7 Norris trophies. He's not that good.
Yeah. That's it. Oh shit! Thought he won 8. Never mind. He's a piece of shit.
Gustav Lindstrom.
So this is gonna come as a surprise, but I'm gonna go. I think to have a good team, everybody talks about you need that high-end center. You need that top-line center. And I'm going to go with the Magic Man, Pavel Datsyuk. I know, hard to say it coming from a Blackhawks fan, but yeah, I'm going to take Pavel Datsyuk. He's just all-around stud,
Ruined my team.
He's so
future Hall of Famer, Arizona Coyotes legend. Yeah, I thought it was a no-brainer at 3. I thought maybe David was going to take him. I'm like, oh, shit. But that would have left me with Lidstrom. But, I'll take Pavel Datsyuk.
Okay. I'm going to take arguably the best captain of all time from the NHL, Stevie Y. Who else are you going to take? I mean, the man who's literally nicknamed the captain, franchise centerman in a redraft. He goes first overall, and it's not even close.
Okay.
Who else are you going to pick? Fantastic 2-way player.
Oh, solid choice.
All right, Jordan, you go again.
Ooh.
Back-to-backs.
And then for my second choice, I'm going to steal somebody from the Hawks. I am choosing Duncan Keith.
Yep. I get
Fantastic 2-way defenseman, produces offense when you need offense, defense when you need defense. Really, when Lidstrom retired, took over as the NHL's model of 2-way defenseman. I don't think you're going to get somebody who's quicker and better with the puck in his prime than Duncan Keith.
Good choice.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I was weighing that between my 2 options here. I should probably mark these off so I don't sound like an idiot maybe later.
I'm crossing some. Yeah.
I'm gonna go attack probably the thinnest position. And when I think, when you need someone to bail you out of a situation and you need someone to stop pucks from going in your own net, I got to take the best goalie out of these two teams, and it's going to go to number 50, Corey Crawford, as my goalie.
Oh,
I think it's just, it's hard to, you need a good goalie, and I think it's the weakest position on the list of options, so I had to knock that one out.
Okay, my turn. You took one of mine, Nick, but you didn't take the other. That was the top of my list. This guy was so good. He defected from Russia to play for the Red Wings. I went with one of the greatest goal scorers in Red Wings history, Sergei Fedorov.
Yep.
My favorite player of all time, the only Red Wings jersey I own.
Yeah, he was on there for me. But yeah, I had to go with Dasu.
At least I got two of them. You took you took one of my top three.
Oh man. Oh
That's
man.
broken.
I'm getting nervous. No, I got back to backs. What do I care? Wait, do I? I have
Yeah, you
back
do.
to backs.
Yeah, you get back
Okay.
to backs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Zetterberg.
Motherfucker.
I love Jonathan Toews is one of my all-time favorite players, but I don't want to be a big homer and just pick all Hawks guys. So I'm gonna go with Zetterberg for my center. Seeing him and Kane work back and forth off of each other would be a dream to just get to watch.
Yeah.
That being said, I now am going to go off of, I'm going to do somebody who double dipped in both leagues or both teams.
Yep.
And I'm going to go with Marian
Kelly?
Hossa.
Oh, Marian
Ooh.
Hossa. You are building offense.
There's a couple. I am. I want my offense taken care of. I'll build everything else.
If you build it, they will come.
Okay. Well, let's see. Okay. You know what? Tim and Nick, you both can eat a bag of dicks. Jonathan Toews.
You know what? I'm glad he went to a good home.
Putting Toews and Fedorov together, like your
Oh.
little Zetterberg and whoever, I'm just angry right now. But Toews reminds me of Yzerman.
Yeah.
They're different people, but their style of play is similar. Toews is very good in the two-way, great leadership quality, and putting him with Fedorov and Lindstrom, that's just
God, seeing
good
him with
stuff.
Fedorov, that would be a beautiful. There's some weird Bizarro world.
He would have the assists locked down.
Easy.
There's some weird multiverse out there where that actually happened.
And it's that good. I love it.
Yeah.
So that brings
Nick.
it to me. That brings it to me. Oof. Okay. Where do I want to go? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. Yeah, weird of me to do this, but I'm gonna go with another Red Wing.
You slut.
And yeah, I know. Holy shit! Am I going a Red Wings fan, guys?
You are.
No. I'm gonna go with Brendan Shanahan.
Okay.
I think he, let's going through the numbers here. I liked him a lot. He was always one of those guys in the video, like the old NHL video games. Like, why is he always scoring against me? And I mean, in 2000, he had 78 points, then 76, 75, 68, 53, 81, 62. At his final season in Detroit at age 37, he put up 81 points. Like, you don't get that kind of production out of a 37-year-old really anymore. So I think Brendan Shanahan I think he goes often underappreciated too, out of the Detroit legend. So Brendan Shanahan.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good pick.
So Jordan, that leads to you.
Yep. You got two picks.
All right, so I'm looking at the lineup that I would like to have.
Has it been wrecked a
Yzerman,
little?
a little bit. Somebody took my second pick or my third pick I was gonna have.
Who was your third pick?
I was gonna pick the Magic Man, but he got picked early, so
He got picked number 2. Yeah.
But if I'm gonna have Steve Yzerman centering in a line, I want a big winger to play with him. I'm taking Marian Hossa. It's
Host has already been
yeah,
taken.
take
oh yeah, he did get picked. Dang you!
Good listening.
It wasn't me, thank God.
Oh shoot.
You're correct, Jordan. Though that's the same argument I.
Um,
Oh no.
Might want to go defense.
Don't
you know what?
answer.
Actually, yes, I will. I will go defense. If I'm
Don't
gonna
help him
ta-
out.
Do
If
it.
I'm going to take Duncan Keith, then you know what? If I'm going to take somebody else who's been with both organizations, I'm taking Chris Chelios.
Oh,
That's a good pair.
gonna be my next
Chelios in his
pick.
prime with Duncan.
Yes.
is
You've
he in his
got-
prime? Was he in his prime in 2000? So
We said the players were in their primes before. We're saying we're taking the versions of them in their primes.
okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair.
So you've got,
Chelios was in his primes in 1972. Come on.
but so you've got Keith and Chelios together. That is
That's good.
fantastic D pair. Offense, defense, two-way game. It's a complete pair. I think you're not going to get one better unless you throw Lidstrom in the mix. So Chelios is my pick.
All right, yeah. Shit, I forgot about that rule. Damn it.
If you want to give me back Pavel Datsuk, I'll take Pavel
No,
Datsuk.
I'm good.
Okay.
Hey, Jordan,
Is that
you
I
have
got a second one. So I'll take the forward then with this one then. Looking at the rosters, I actually think I want Patrick Sharp.
Oh, I was thinking of him too.
Patrick Sharp, interesting player. He's very good, was not insanely flashy, but just very dependable. Stepped up when you needed players to step up. And if you need somebody who's playing a complete game, Patrick Sharp provides you with that. And I like him. He's speedy.
There you go.
All right. Well, yeah, I need to start building my defense. It's the backbone. And since we are going with in the prime, I gotta go with Brent Seabrook. Seabrook, just
Back
a
there.
core part of 3 Stanley Cups, and it's not the Seabrook we see out there now. It's the Seabrook that we once seen before. So Brent Seabrook.
I really only need one defenseman with Lidstrom. I mean, that's fine. I got scared earlier, Jordan, when you said you got to go with a forward and you're going to go with the big guy. And you said Hossa, and I was like, oh, thank God. And then I thought, oh, wait, is he going to change? Because you got Taves, the playmaker, the guy that sets things up. You got Fedorov, the sniper, who just, does what he wants. We need a big body to complement both of them. And I got to go with the mule. I got to go with Johan Franzen. That guy was a utter beast on his day. He put the team in 08 on his back in the playoffs, had hat tricks, multiple hat tricks. Just if his concussion didn't end his career, he could have been like Hall of Fame worthy for the Wings. So yeah, I got to go with Franzen to finish out my 3 forwards right there. That's a sick pair.
It is.
All right, so I got back-to-backs, baby. So
Okay.
I only have forwards. So
I
I'm
tried to
gonna do-
warn you.
No. This is good. I've got what I'm gonna do is when I played 2 years of floor hockey, I was a stay-at-home defenseman. That was my jam. So I'm gonna pick a shutdown pairing. I'm gonna get Nicholas Hjalmarsson
Okay.
and Nicholas Cronwell.
Oh, there
Okay.
we go. The 2 Nicholases.
You get the double Nicholas, the St.
Double
Nicholas
Nick.
line.
Double necks. Okay.
Nobody's getting past that. That's a wall.
No.
Well, you took the defender I wanted. So, in order to prevent Jordan from pissing on my grave, I'm going with who Jordan and I said we believed was the consensus best goalie, Chris Osgood.
Okay.
I'm getting my goalie right now.
Yeah, I had Osgood as my number 2 goalie on my list, so I think that's a good choice. Oof. Tim, you already have 3 forwards, right?
Yep, all I need is a goalie.
Okay, so I'm good there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with another D-man. This guy's big. It's in his nickname. He played a shutdown role when he had to. He could score goals when he had to. He even played. Even when he joined the offense, he was very offensive, and they moved into forward for a little bit. But I'm putting him as a D-man because that's his natural position. I'm gonna go with Dustin Byfuglien.
Okay.
So I got.
I love that pick.
I got Seabrook and Byfuglien manning my blue line. Those 2 big bodies,
Those
guys.
are some dirty blue lines. Actually.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with those 2. So Dustin Byfuglien is my 4th round pick. 5th round pick.
All right. So then that makes it my turn then. Well, shoot. Well, since you already took Chris Osgood from me, David, I'm going to have to choose a goaltender then as well. I'm not going with somebody who most fans would probably pick, but I'm going to go with Peter Mrazek. I like the fact that when he was on his game, he was putting up Vezina caliber numbers, just really quick, young. Again, kind of fizzled out with the Wings, but I really think that when he was on his game, he was one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. Just sort of fell off, but when he was playing his prime, he was fantastic.
Okay.
Then you got one more as well,
And
Jordan.
then last pick is going to have to be a forward, obviously, because you got to round out the lines. This one's kind of tough.
It is tough. I got 3 guys I have to pick between.
I'm going to go with somebody from the current Red Wings lineup right here. I'm going to pick Dylan Larkin right here. I think he's in the mold of Yzerman. You put him on that line with Sharp, Yzerman, Sharp, and Larkin. That is a fantastic 2-way line. It's going to be everywhere all the time, and it's speedy. That's the other thing. So they're not getting out skated. I like that line.
Yeah, that's a good line.
I like that a lot.
It's a nice little roster you constructed there. All right. Oof. Got 3 guys I'm picking between. But, I'm going to go with Datsuk. Can you imagine him playing with this guy? Patrick Kane got the opportunity to play with this guy, and now he's flourishing on his own in New York. I'm going to go with Artemi Panarin.
Ooh.
Okay.
And then if you guys want, we could talk about the ones that just missed the cut from roster or whatever after.
The taxi squad.
Yeah, the
The
taxi
taxi squad.
I can't even think of the word. What's the word that you say? Not runner up, but they just missed the list.
Honorary mentions.
Honorary mentions. There we go. Jesus. It's like when I come out here, I can't speak anymore. All right, David, close
So
out
David.
your draft.
This was tough. I had to pick a defenseman. And all the good ones, I mean, they're all good. You play pressure, but all the ones that I was really thinking about are gone. So I had to think hard about other defensemen, and I was stuck between 2. The guy I didn't pick was Mike Green. I think Mike Green in his prime was great. But I went with Brian Rafalski.
Not a bad pair.
I think Brian Rafalski was fantastic. I won't forget the 0.1 second remaining goal he scored to send us to overtime, where I recall we won during one of the seasons he was with us, but it was a tough choice. But I went with Rafalski Lidstrom as my D pair.
Like that?
This is so hard. I'm between 2 goalies.
Curtis
especially-
Joseph.
Especially with thinking about them in their prime. You know what? No, I'm doing it. I'm going to go with the late, great Ray Emery as my goalie.
Yeah.
It was between him and Javi Bulin.
Yeah.
The Bulin wall.
The Bulin Wall.
And You know what? I gotta go with Emery.
Yeah, that's a good choice. And
Oh.
nice little honor too in late
Exactly.
fashion. Ooh, man, a lot of big names left off the list. I'm shocked.
Jordan, who is your goalie again?
I picked Peter Mrazek.
That's right. No one picked Hasek. That surprises me.
I thought about it, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to go just a little bit off the board. Just makes it fun.
I'm looking forward to us putting these up on like the Twitter or something, having people vote on like which.
Yeah, did you guys made sure to write them down, right? Your picks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Jordan, Jordan, why don't you run through your lineup?
All right, so the lineup that I have is as follows. You have Steve Yzerman centering Patrick Sharp and Dylan Larkin. Like I was mentioned, it's a quick line. It's a great two-way line. Nobody's defensively liable. They can all score goals. All are used to playing in big situations. It's a fantastic line. On defense, you've got Duncan Keith and Chris Chelios. Again, it's all about the two-way game here. Moving pucks, stopping pucks, and then just generating offense when needed. And then in net, Peter Mrazek. Yes, he's young. Yes, he was streaky, but when he was on hot streaks, a fantastic Vezina level caliber goaltender. So that's the lineup. I like it. I think it's got a lot of potential. And again, in some weird multiverse somewhere, it's a thing.
NHL 21.
Tim, what was yours?
So my lineup was Henrik Zetterberg centering Patrick Kane and Marian Hossa. Oh man.
Oofda.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that is an offensive line that also has some, plenty of two-way play. I know Patrick Kane scoffs at the idea of defense, but everyone else is able to hold their own. I'm very excited about that. And if it gets past them, you got Nicholas Hjalmarsson and Nicholas Cronwell. Just a brick wall that people are going to have to go through.
Patrick
And then
Sharp knows that
finally,
especially.
You've got Ray Emery in his prime, ready to stop any shot and maybe fight you.
David, go ahead.
So
Maybe I'll
I
punch
got-
you in the face.
I got Jonathan Taves centering a line of Franzen and Fedorov. So you have a perfectly balanced line of the two-way Taves. You have Franzen, the big body that can, force his way to the goal. And you got Fedorov, who's going to probably put up 6 goals a night. Great team. Behind them, you have the perfect human, Nick Lidstrom, who can do everything: score, defense, impregnate your wife just by winking at her. The guy can do it all. Rafalski, wonderful offensive defenseman as well, so he could help push forward. It could switch between him and Lidstrom for running the quarterback on the power play. They could just mess you up. And then the overlooked Chris Osgood. I feel like he's overlooked. He didn't win a lot of Vezinas or things like that because he was in a league with a lot of very good goalies, but he was a goalie that was able to command his zone, and also he would fight you.
We're going to have a goal
As we saw with the Avalanche.
And then my line to close us out, it's I got Pavel Datsyuk centering Artemi Panarin and Brendan Shanahan.
Hey, so nasty.
And, you got those two Russians together. They're just gonna work their magic and just Oh God, poor goalies. And then my blue line, you got the two big bodies. They like to use their body back in the day. Brent Seabrook and Dustin Byfuglien. Just two bruisers back. And then Byfuglien could get involved offensively as well. And then you got the best goalie between the two teams of all time,
Easy.
Corey Crawford.
No doubt.
Corey Crawford, the best goalie between these two teams. He's going to keep the pucks out of the net. If this line is starting Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Corey Crawford's going to be there and most likely pull out the win. So
it'll take you to the House of Blues afterwards.
Yeah, and he'll also, if your name is Jonathan Quick, he will try to fight you. So yeah, we got some theme between our
We
goals.
got a lot of brawlers here for our goalies.
Did you guys have any honorary mentions that missed your list? That just missed your list?
For me, I was thinking about picking up either Gustav Nyquist or Tomas Tatar. They're not really flashy players, but they were just solid top 6 guys for Detroit when Detroit was rounding out its years in the playoffs before the streak was broken. And Tomas Tatar has gone on to the Canadiens and been a pretty decent player. I mean, he's playing top 6 over there, I believe. And Nyquist has looked okay for Columbus. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of thought about one of those two.
Hull was on there for me, Brett Hull.
Yeah, he was on mine too.
He was one that I was going to think about because, like, both teams like are deep at forward for players we could pick from. Like, I thought about Draper if there was no other good centerman left, because Chris Draper, in my opinion, is overlooked. He was one of the best centermen, like just winning faceoffs, like in heart pounding games where you need someone to win a faceoff. It's either Datsuk, but if Datsuk was out there, it's Draper. Other than that, yeah.
My backup goalie was definitely going to be Javi Bullen.
Yep.
I love him so much.
Ashik for me.
And it makes sense. And then I was actually going to go old school. I mean, as old school as like 2000. But Tony Amonte.
Yeah, I had him on my list too.
I like Tony Amonte.
I
Yeah.
kept circling back to Amonte. He was one of my favorite players
Yeah.
when I was watching the Hawks coming up. And it was just one of those things where I couldn't sacrifice any of the people I had.
Yeah.
But as my first guy in, gotta be Amani.
Oh yeah, Tony Amonte was definitely my first favorite player when I was a kid. You know, and
Makes sense.
I got this tall poster in my room. It's like the Got Milk, and it's Tony Amonte. So he was one of my favorites. I always had to make sure I got him in the old like NHL 2K video games. I always would make sure to.
Love that.
So yeah, I had Tony Amonte on my list. Brett Hull, Brian Campbell, Johnny Aduya.
Yep. Both of them were in my like, oh God, what if I don't get the defenseman?
Yes,
I want?
exactly.
I can live with them.
They were like at the bottom of my like rankings on my defenseman, but like those are guys I could live with. And then 2010 playoffs, Anthony Emmy. Just made sure it's only playoffs.
Speaking of
Frankly.
Tony Amonte in the Where Is He Now segment, he is the varsity head coach at the Thayer Academy,
Hey, good to see Tony still involved.
Yeah. I
which
love
is
it.
a co-educational college preparatory school in Massachusetts.
That's awesome.
God
And
bless him.
meanwhile, we
That's
don't.
great.
We have no idea what's going on with Eric Dawson. He just fell off the face of the map. So yeah, that was a fun little segment. Glad we got to do something different, replace fan mail. So
Yeah,
I do want to put those up, let people either chirp our picks if we missed somebody that you
Or
think we
just-
should have been on as
yeah.
an obvious pick. Please let us know.
yeah, and also if you're on Twitter and you follow us and you listen to this, feel free to reply with your own. If well, I mean it's gonna be hard because if you want.
Text me your guys' picks, so when I make the Reddit post, I'll include that in my post.
Ah,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah, and when before Jordan closes us out, one little fun fact I just found out today: there's 2 teams in the NHL that have 0 5-on-5 goals this season.
Oh no.
Oh,
One is the Dallas Stars, who haven't played a game, and the other is the Boston Bruins, have not scored a 5-on-5 goal yet.
dang.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
So, a little fun fact to close us out.
Told you Dallas was gonna be no good.
Why can't we score goals?
Another fun fact to close us out: Chicago-style pizza is better than New York-style pizza.
That's just obvious. Yeah.
I
That's,
thought we were
I mean,
gonna have to.
All
have
pizza's
words.
good. All pizza's good. Don't get me wrong. I love pizza.
Quad
Detroit
City
style pizza, delicious.
yeah, but we got the diversity. Because we have the thin crust and we got the deep dish. Like,
I've never had a Chicago thin.
oh,
Ooh, you're gonna have to do that sometime.
Yeah.
It's
I've
only
all
been-
over.
Vito and Nick's. Oof.
Every time I've been to my grandparents, the pizza places I've gone to are Gino's East and Giordano's.
You're gonna have to get Pequods.
Yeah, Pequod's. There you go.
I will die on that hill.
And
yeah,
I love
Pequod's is the best pizza place in the country.
And I love Portillo's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Portillo's, you can't go wrong.
Good.
There's better beefs out there, but it's still a good beef.
Yeah, you go for the experience.
Yeah, you got to go for the nostalgia factor.
Well, listen, we could talk about food all night, but
Yeah.
we got listen,
Yeah, Jordan, wrap us up before we
that's
start
it.
snake drafting food.
I'll take a
Alright.
beef in the first round.
All right. Well, thank you for the fun idea, Nick. This is an interesting
This
thing
is
to do
great.
instead of fan mail this week.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Like I said, we'll post lists on Twitter for people to vote on and who they thought was the best option. But that's it for our show tonight. Again, hockey is back, so we're gonna finally be on a regular schedule. We're doing weekly episodes. So if the schedule seemed weird this off season, it's gonna be back to normal. It's just the off season has been so weird. The news has been so staggered. and the whole schedule being up in the air has really thrown the schedule off. But with the regular season being back, it's going to be weekly episodes from here on out for the rest of the season. So keep an eye or an ear out for those. If you ever want to send the podcast questions or feedback or anything like that, there are a number of ways you can get in contact with us. So we've got Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at stickbladepod. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us via email at stickbladepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on SoundCloud. We're on SoundCloud. We put our podcast on Apple Podcasts. I mean, we're on YouTube now as well. So just however you like to get your podcast fix, we're on it. You can message us. We check the messages pretty frequently, at least once a week before the show. So whatever your avenue is for getting podcast content, we're on there. There are ways to get in touch with us. So feel free to send us your like sort of either comments or feedback or questions. We love having your guys' stuff on the show, and it's something different to break up the show.
I want to butt in real quick because I got a message from somebody, not on a Reddit thread, but about Red Wings stuff, news. And I want to ask you the question, Jordan. PLD.
Okay.
Columbus Blue Jacket requested a trade. That's a big debate right now. Mantha Veleno, second round pick. Would you do it?
Nope, absolutely not.
Me too. That's what I told him. It's too much.
You're asking for a potential 35 goal scorer, a potential at least third line centerman, plus a draft pick. I'm not making that trade.
You've already got your first line center.
Yeah.
Too much.
I'm not making that trade.
Second line center behind Larkin, technically, I guess.
But then you'd be paying way too much for a second line center.
Mhm.
Like I love PLD, but it doesn't make sense for you guys. I don't see it.
And it doesn't fit our window timeline either. That's the other
No.
thing. That's a win now move. We're not in a win now yet.
Nope.
But yeah, that's it for the show. As always, again, thank you guys for listening or watching the show. However you're intaking the show, we appreciate doing this for you guys. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a podcast that is by fans. It's for fans. There's no corporate sponsors or anything like that. This is just we're getting around, gathering, and talking about the teams that we love, and just having a good time. And we hope you guys enjoy, doing it with us. As always, thank you again for your host, Jordan Linscott, and my hosts, Tim Stompanato, Nick LePage, and David Barnhouse. This has been another edition of the Stick Blade Podcast. You guys stay safe, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. And in the meantime and in between time, really just have some fun and let's enjoy some hockey.
Go Hawks.
Kick your feet up, watch some hockey. Go Wings. See you soon, Hawks.
Friendship.